MC meeting this week and how it might impact our markets. A new bill's been introduced into Congress to fire Gary Gensler, and the last major thing that we're going to talk about is the Hinman emails. They get released tomorrow, and we're going to speculate what's inside them. Make sure you guys tune in all the way to the end of this video to find out all of the details. Hey guys, it's Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys can go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already. Click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to the end. If you guys could share my videos and share my channel with anyone. I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can, and I definitely need your guys' help in doing so. Getting started, today's gonna be Monday, June 12th. The total market cap for all cryptocurrency right now is $1,053 billion. This is a 0.15% decrease on the day today. Bitcoin right now is currently trading at $25,925. Ethereum $1,743, and XRP right now trading at 52.5 cents. Getting into our crypto bubbles, our biggest gainers and losers on the day. SUI is going to be our biggest gainer, up 10.5%. KAS is going to be up 7.4%. And Uniswap right here is going to be up 6.6%. Our biggest losers, Pulse going to be down 14.8%, Hex 8.6%, and Rocket Pool right here down 6.7%. Since we're so close to being right now at 0% gains and losses, we're about a 50-50 right now for greens and reds. Getting into our biggest gainers and losers of the week, though, we saw a big catastrophe in the crypto markets with the SEC crackdown on Coinbase as well as Binance, and it dropped a lot of cryptocurrency prices. We could see maybe a spike up here in a little bit, depending on what happens tomorrow with those Hinman emails. But the total market is in just shambles right now. It's nice to see XRP right here up 4.2% on the week. On the month, though, it's nice, up 23.6%. So overall, it's great to see that the XRP coin is doing so well in the markets when everything else is going in shambles right now. Moving on, though, we did do our giveaway with the 100 XRP. I gave 50 XRP to 2 individuals. I ended up doing 50, but then due to the transaction fees and everything else, it was 48. So I just wanted to just verify that I do send these out. So here's another transaction. So Marla and Kathy, congratulations to both of you guys, and thank you guys for participating in my giveaway. Next giveaway is going to be at 500 subscribers, so make sure you guys spread my channel to anyone that you guys know. And at 500 subscribers, we're going to be doing a giveaway. As we get closer, I'll release details on that one because I'm going to make a couple bit of changes, I think. Moving on, though, the Federal Open Market Committee has a meeting. If we look at June the 13th and 14th, there's going to be a lot that's happening on the 13th with cryptocurrency, but also with our federal governments right now. We're going to figure out what's going to happen. Are we going to see another rate increase, or there's going to be a rate pause? Now, my speculation is I think that there's going to be an increase. There's a lot of individuals right now that think that the Fed is going to pause rate hikes. I do see a 25 basis points increase, which is a 0.25% increase in interest rates. I'm glad to be wrong, though, but I think they're going to try to be more proactive again. But in my opinion, everyone doesn't really know. Right now we see our markets going down and dipping down just a little bit. A lot of people anticipate that that means that we might see a rate increase. But that's where I got my speculation from. Put down in the comments what you guys think, though. But if we do see a rate increase, that's going to be bad for all markets, whether it's cryptocurrency, real estate, stocks, bonds, stuff like that. Moving on, though, the indictment against Trump has been unsealed, revealing he is being charged with 37 counts in classified documents case. Now, I'm bringing this up because this does impact our democracy and then also could affect investments. Getting another former president of the United States charged with a bunch of crimes, especially when our president right now that we have is being accused of doing a lot of different things and no charges have been brought against him yet. So only time's going to tell where our market's going to be. But our Pentagon is announcing another $2 billion military package for Ukraine. We just keep sending money to Ukraine when our American citizens are suffering over and over and over again. This money could be used to help the American people because these are our taxpayer dollars, but they're going to fund military operations in Ukraine. Now, getting into our fear and greed index for cryptocurrency. Today we were at a 47. We're kind of neutral. Yesterday we were at a 47. Last week we were at a 53. But due to the SEC's crackdown again on Coinbase and Binance, we did drop just a little bit. Just this past year, though, we were down here. I think we did reach up to like 10, maybe even 8 in the fear and greed index. But when markets are doing very well, we see in the 80s or 90s. So as of right now, the market's neutral right now on what's going to happen with cryptocurrency. Even with the crackdowns, though, we didn't move that much into the fear. So that was great news. Now, when the SEC cracked down on Binance as well as Coinbase, the whole market was in reds. Like looking at these top 100 coins, according to Mario, I mean, I even just showed you guys on crypto bubbles, everything was in the red. So this isn't great news for cryptocurrency. Obviously, there's a graph to overreach of power with the SEC. Now, with Binance, the Binance defendants have filed their opposition to the SEC's motions for an asset freeze order. So we talked about how Binance was being sued by the SEC, and then the SEC filed a motion to freeze all assets on Binance's website. They have proposed a reasonable compromise for the order that would, one, secure the assets for all Binance.us customers, place the private keys in the hands of US personnel, and provide for accounting of Binance.us assets. And not surprisingly, the SEC has refused to agree to the order. By offering a reasonable compromise, the Binance defendants have now taken the high ground. So Binance came up with a solution. They proposed it. The SEC has not responded to it. Obviously, there's something going on. I was in a couple Twitter spaces and we were talking about the Binance lawsuit for the Binance.us customers only. Does not affect Binance exchange itself right now. But there was a person who was the CEO of Binance.us. He was there for about 3 months and then he actually left. That was a huge speculation that he was going to help the crypto industry, but speculation was he saw a bunch of shady stuff that was going on with Binance and then he decided to take off. Do you guys think that Binance is actually guilty of market manipulation? Only time's going to tell, but they were talking about how Binance um, printed a bunch of Binance BNB or BUSB coins, both of those, and then bought Bitcoin with it to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. And that's what they're being accused of as well in the lawsuit. So only time's going to tell, but put down in the comments what you guys think. Binance did release a statement in saying that due to our valued customers, they have a banking partner that's no longer going to be using USD fiat. So starting June 13th, which is tomorrow. So if you guys can get all of your guys' money off of Binance.us, again, get a cold storage wallet. You guys don't like hard wallets or exchanges to hold your guys' assets on, because if anything happens to Binance.us, all of your assets are seized by Binance.us and you don't get any access to them. This is exactly what happened to FTX. And there's rumors that FTX exchange is going to reopen in Q3 or Q4. Only time's going to tell. But they said we encourage customers to withdraw their USD via bank transfers by June 13th. Due to the elevated volumes of the weekend bank closures, ACH withdrawals may take longer than usual to process, usually several days. So we appreciate your guys' patience. So obviously, they say cryptocurrency services remain fully operational, including crypto trading, staking, deposits, and withdrawals. So one of the huge things with Binance getting sued, as well as Coinbase, is their staking assets program. Obviously, staking gives a bunch of people a bunch of extra cryptocurrency rather than the money going to a private company. It goes back to the consumers. We'll see what happens though with this. Cardano founder, okay, Charles Hoskinson, if you guys don't know who he wants a peace with the XRP community. So there was a bunch of speculation and rumors that he absolutely despises the XRP community and actually hates the XRP token. He did a whole live stream in a Twitter space, and he talked about the XRP token and wanting to come up with a compromise because he was bashing the XRP community, and the XRP community in turn started bashing ADA or Cardano, which is the ADA is the token. So we'll see what happens. I would give you guys a good read of this. It's actually very insightful for his thought process on a bunch of things. Now, this was really interesting. Gaslighting at its finest. So nofinancialadvice.com, he compiled a bunch of interviews with Gary Gensler. For those of you guys that don't know, he's the head of the SEC. With him doing a bunch of sit-down interviews with news organizations. And in this, he talks about, I'm not going to be talking about any single coin, any clear rules or regulations in any one of these videos. So it just keeps on going on and on and on. He talks here, talks to this guy, talks with her, and then just keeps on going. Just he doesn't even know how to define what a asset or a security is, the difference between a commodity and a security in the cryptocurrency world. The only thing that he says right now is possibly Bitcoin. Can't even define if Ether, or which is Ethereum, is a security or not. So it's really interesting though, because this finally came up to the House of Representatives. This guy Warren Davidson. Today, I filed the SEC Stabilization Act to reconstructure the SEC and fire Gary Gensler. So U.S. capital markets must be protected from a tyranny chairman, including the current one. That's why I'm introducing legislation to fix the ongoing abuse in power and ensure the protection that is in the best interest of the market for years to come. It's hard to find real reform and to fire Gary Gensler as the chair. It's time for real reform and to fire Gary Gensler as the chair of the SEC. Now, the market manipulation that he's talking about is when the SEC sued Binance and Coinbase, it dropped the entire markets. You had Cardano that was labeled as a security, down 21.3%. Algorand labeled as a security, down 17.6%. All of these coins right here just got in shambles. So a bunch of people lost a bunch of money, and that's where he was talking about the market manipulation. Now, John Deaton wants to point out to everyone, he says, everyone needs to remember that the SEC calling an asset a security does not mean it is a security. Here is the SEC admitting that the court decides if the SEC's claims or a theory is even valid. So, thus, the commissioner's enforcement proceeding to the Southern District of New York, brought under the Securities Act, supplies the exclusive method for testing the validity of the commission's complaint against Ripple. So, right now, it's up to the court to decide. The SEC can make any claim that they want to, but until it's proven in the court of law, or if Congress defines certain assets as securities, they can only make claims. So that's really interesting to point out, because I did not know that. So thank you for John Deaton. He's a lawyer for the cryptocurrency world. If you guys don't know, he's been clearly following the XRP and the token and Ripple versus the SEC lawsuit. We'll see what happens with this, though. Mark Cuban comes out. For those of you guys that don't know, he's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He's a huge financial man. He's in Shark Tank, but he says here the SEC calling the stock loan industry opage and requiring transparency. No, they are not calling stock loans a security, as they are trying to do with the loaning of crypto assets. Nor are they suing the stock loan departments of brokers/banks. They're going through a comments process. They should do the same thing with crypto as an effort to determine which assets of crypto are securities and which are not, and the best way to regulate the industry and protect investors. I think their difference in approach is emblematic of their intent for one industry versus another. So obviously they like stocks, the SEC does, and they absolutely despise the cryptocurrency assets. If you guys want to, you guys can read through this. It's very interesting. But it's nice to see Mark Cuban step up and talk about this stuff. Obviously, he is invested in a bunch of cryptocurrency projects. But it's nice to see somebody who's in the financial world point a lot of this stuff out. Now, Stuart Alderati is the chief legal officer over at Ripple. He says the SEC issues stop orders blocking registration statements when they're untrue. One that says I'm not registering as a broker dealer, a securities exchange, or an ATS because I am not trading securities should have been blocked if the SEC believed the statement was untrue, and they did not block it. So it's nice to see him talk about a bunch of this stuff, and he's been in a huge important role in the Ripple versus the SEC case, and hopefully we can see something out of those Hinman emails. Now, Meta Lawman wants to point out that there's a congratulations to Custodia Bank and CEO Caitlin Long on a big win in the court on their battle with the Fed. A federal judge just denied the Fed's motion to dismiss Custodia's case. So now the case now proceeds to the discovery, where they just might learn new details of the government's operations choke point 2.0 effort to eliminate on and off ramps between crypto and the banking systems. Anyone who cares about government overreach in this area should pay attention to this important case progress. So this is really good, that because now the jurisdiction of a judge now is determining if the Fed, which are part of the executive branch, has a grasp overreach of power right now in the cryptocurrency space. Obviously, we're seeing a bunch of stuff going on right now, but when they say eliminating the on and off ramps, is you being able to use your debit card or your bank or your credit card to buy cryptocurrency assets. And then when you want to, you can sell those assets and get back regular fiat dollars, depending on where you live, whether it's the US dollar, the euro, the yen, the peso. The US right now wants to eliminate that right now. But it's really funny that they want to do this, because, again, the NASDAQ is going to offer cryptocurrency assets on their exchange or their broker licensed dealer. in quarter 2, quarter 3 of this year. They said by summer, so it falls in between quarter 2 and quarter 3. We'll see when they actually do it. But they're picking and choosing the winners and the losers, and obviously we're going to see a little bit more about Operation Choke Point 2.0. Now, we talked about Charles Hawkinson. So Cardano founder tells Fox Business in response to Robinhood delisting ADA, Solana, and Matic. It's not surprising that when there's a lack of clarity, contradictory guidance, and a culture of fear instead of collaboration with regulators, that some entities will choose to simply start leaving markets entirely. Now, it's funny that he points this out because Coinbase delisted the XRP token, and Charles Hawkinson, again, was a part of this and was totally on board with Coinbase. As far as I can remember, he was totally on support of Coinbase delisting the XRP token, but now he's kind of backtracked a lot of those statements. This guy, Panos, comes out and says, it's sad that a big part of the XRP community still believes that the XRP was created for banks or to help institutions. It was literally created to destroy the bank's monopoly and de-intermediate them. XRP was created as a better Bitcoin for P2P transactions, person to person, for people, not banks. And with features like the DEX, Ripple's initial vision was to enable and to break free from the walled gardens and financial networks like credit cards, banks, PayPal, and other institutions that restrict access with fees, charges for currencies, exchanges, and process delays. This is what Ripple mentioned in their website in 2013. Ripple initially called OpenCoin. So for those of you guys that don't know, Ripple was actually called OpenCoin before it became Ripple. Started with a vision to build an open payment system and P2P credit networks for people, not banks, on top of the XRPL, and by utilizing its DEX and other features. Now, when it was OpenCoin, that's when it had Jed McCaleb and Chris Larson as the founders / co-creators, and then Brad Garlinghouse joined later, and then that's when they created the name Ripple. Even though Ripple later decided to focus on the banking systems and cross-border payments, they didn't do this to help the banks and financial institutions. They did it to create a level playing field for the small banks and destroy the SWIFT cartel-owned big ones. Either way, Ripple's business models doesn't matter much, as it's just one project out of the hundreds using XRP and building on the XRPL. But some members of the XRP community should know that they should know what they hold and stick to the facts instead of believing in false narratives. And these false narratives were created by Bitcoin maxis at first and have continued by XRP influencers and YouTubers to promote this for their own interest, spreading misinformation and delusion theories around XRP. XRP is for everyone, especially the people who are sick of banks and centralized entities that charge a lot of fees, having big delays and continue to censor you. This is the reason why XRP Ledger was built, to free the people from such institutions and give the power back to the individuals. The whole point of this thread is that XRP is for everyone. It is an open, decentralized network with many features, and anyone can use it. People, businesses, banks, for whatever they want. Why is this difficult for some people to understand? The legend of the XRPL was co-created, spoken, end of discussion for people who disagree. Now, David Swartz says, I 100% agree that this thread, awesome description. So, for those of you guys that don't know, he's the CTO, Chief Technical Officer over at Ripple. Obviously, if he's going to agree with this, it's obviously true. And I wanted to point this out because I am a YouTuber right now. Obviously, I have a small audience. I hopefully want to grow it later on as we progress through with my YouTube channel. With the support of you guys, I can do that. But with this, I wanted to point out, because this is what the XRPL was created for. Now, obviously, it's going to help banks, but it also hurts banks also. Now, why it hurts banks is because for the transaction fees, that's how banks make a bunch of their money. They make money off of you guys giving your guys' money to the bank, then they loan it out to other individuals and then charge those massive amounts of fees. That's where you guys get your guys' interest rate. So when you guys go to buy a house right now, roughly 6.75% right now is the interest rate. If you guys want to go buy a house, cars, depending on your credit score, you guys can pay anywhere from 6 all the way up to 18, 19%. Credit cards right now, 19%. If you guys go over on your guys' credit cards, obviously, I wanted to point this out because it's super important, okay? That this is what we have been striving for, was to create a community that doesn't need a bunch of other entities to succeed. It's open source, decentralized, and this is what's going to be great about the XRPL once we officially get clarity in the markets. Now, this video from Crypto Law says, was the SEC Gov hiding the Hinman docs? What are in the emails? So this is what we're going to be talking about right now, because there's a huge speculation right now what's in the Hinman email. So he gave the Ethereum free pass speech, which was a speech that basically labeled Ethereum to be a commodity and not a security, which basically gave it open regulation for a bunch of institutions to start utilizing and holding Ethereum. And with this, only Ethereum and Bitcoin were labeled as commodities and not securities. The rest of the crypto market was left wondering, are we a security or are we not? Now, there's a bunch of emails that were sent from a bunch of members in the SEC to come up with this speech. So all of those detailed emails are going to be released to the public, and they did actually talk about Ripple and the XRPL. If it actually does come out that they hid some of that stuff to basically allow Ethereum only to become a security, it's going to be really damning for the SEC. For those of you guys that don't know, Bill Hinman used to work for a private company called Simpson Thacher. He received $15 million based on the ability for Ethereum to go up in value, because he was part of the Ethereum Free Alliance, or Simpson Thacher, I'm sorry, was a part of the Ethereum Free Alliance, which is a group that basically invests in Ethereum. And he got a severance package when he left Simpson Thacher. For those of you guys that don't know what a severance package is, it's basically like a thank you gift as you leave a company. If you guys are there for X amount of years, or you guys were a huge influence in the company and helped the company strive for greatness, they basically give you a parting gift, and that's what a severance package is. But his severance package was on the ability for Ethereum to do well. He received a certain percentage of that. So he received about $15 million in that. We know that the SEC Ethics Committee talked to William Hinman, or Bill Hinman, about a bunch of the stuff that was going on, and that he can't be meeting with Simpson Thacher, even though he did several times. They told him to knock it off, and he didn't. He still continued to meet with those individuals, gave the speech, then left the SEC. And that was basically what happened. They sued Ripple. He left. Jay Clayton left. And then there's a bunch of uncertainty in the markets. Gary Gensler took over and now has constantly been hounding the cryptocurrency market labeled as securities. Now, just recently, this last Friday, Bill Hinman talking crypto policy at the Aspen Institute event on Friday. So he's not hiding away from cryptocurrency right now, even though the emails are going to be made public. Obviously, he's trying to get whatever money he can right now, because in my opinion, I believe that he's actually guilty of a bunch of stuff, and maybe he might get some charges against him. Except we talked about in my last video how there's a 5-year gap about what's going on for immunity, and he's obviously going to meet that 5 years, so he's not going to be able to be charged. We'll see if they can figure out a workaround. I don't know if it's officially 5 years, but that's a bunch of the stuff that lawyers have been talking about. But the SEC has now removed Bill Hinman's biography from its website, getting ready to throw him under the bus. So this was what his biography used to be on the SEC's website, and they completely took it off. Now, we know this because if you guys can go to the SEC, you type in SEC Bill Hinman on Google, and there's no bio. But there was one. So it's really interesting that they removed this. Obviously, they're trying to move away from him and anything that he did during the SEC, but they have to still keep his picture. But they removed his official bio from the website. Now, does that prove that they're guilty of collusion? Only time's going to tell, and we'll see what happens in those emails. But with a lot of stuff that's been going on in these Hinman emails getting released tomorrow, as well as the meeting with the FOMC, and as well as Binance going to court. They have a hearing tomorrow. There's a lot of news. It's really crazy that a bunch of people, so this is Yoshika Kotoa, Ripple's board member and head of SBI Groups, is calling out Gary Gensler and shows his bullishness on XRP. So he talks about at the end of this video, we are going to the moon. Don't worry about that at all. Now, he probably shouldn't be saying this, but he might know something a little bit more than a bunch of us don't know, because he sits on Ripple's board. And Brad Garlinghouse responded to an individual, says, Brad Garlinghouse, any thoughts ahead of the SEC docs release? We are all appreciate of Ripple's fighting for this important public disclosure. Brad Garlinghouse responded, wish I could go into depth now, but we've waited this long, 18 plus months. I don't want to overstep. Suffice to say, um, that Stuart Alderati and I believe they are well worth the wait. So he's basically calling out what's going on and saying that this waiting time and the 18 months that we've been having this legal fight, there's something damning in those because Stuart Alderati just read what's in there. I'm assuming Brad Garlinghouse has read what's in those docs also, but only time's going to tell. Put down in the comments what you guys think. Help me get to 500 subscribers, and we're going to be doing another giveaway. I appreciate all of you guys' support throughout this process. Make sure you guys tune into the next video, and if you guys can invest with the big dog, stay on the porch. Thank you guys, and have a good one.